to Village. This is our tribe, our village, our family. Thank you for joining. And today we're going to talk about something that all of us have or will encounter, and that's the feeling of loneliness. Now, we've all seen the thing during this pandemic, alone together. But what happens when you feel alone, but not the together part? Today, we have a special treat. We have not only one, but two guests to help us dive into this topic, and that's Miss Charnele Brown and Miss Martina Gabbidon. Hello, ladies.
Hello, hello. Good night.
Hello, everyone.
And they are the creators of Single Mingle blog, and they touch on a variety of topics affecting singles, including loneliness and how that affects our choices and behavior while dating. Tina, what is loneliness to you?
Loneliness to me is a state of being. It's how you feel. Loneliness could also be an actual thing, like you're alone. There's no one else around. But it can also be something that you're creating in your mind too, as if no one will understand and no one can connect to what you're going through. So it's like singular.
Great. And Charnele, do you think that's something that we should pay special attention to? Or is it something where you're like, all right, girl, all right, boy, just get over it. Go call somebody and you'll be good?
No, I think it's very important because you can be alone and not feel lonely. You know what I mean? But if you are feeling lonely, and I mean like loneliness, like where somebody doesn't understand you or something like that, that could be a sign of different things happening in your life. And that's far left right there. So you really do need to be aware of those situations and why you feel that way. And don't jump into any relationships if you feel that way. Because we need to address that first. That's
Get to the root.
Yeah, for sure.
So how could you say, so how do you see loneliness affecting relationships?
Well, I recently just watched a video on Instagram how the girl, she was like how before getting into a relationship, she really was looking for someone to be her knight in shining armor, someone to save her, ultimately it's at the end of the day. And as Charnele said, those were some things, right? Those are some things she had to address, because then when she got into those relationships, she was seeking everything from that person. You know what I mean? She had nothing of her own. She was like literally targeting him for the positive and the negatives. He then became like the punching bag when things were wrong, because as you said, he was on that pedestal. So if you're not addressing those things prior to you get into those things, it can cause chaos.
So you need to figure out what's going on with you first before you start clinging on to other people for things, friendships and relationships. So
that clinging on, because then it becomes like a leech, like you're leeching onto someone, sucking them of what they have. You're draining them now.
And sometimes you're draining all the negative things. So you're draining the negative energy, the negative vibes from them, and you're bringing it into your inner being. And that's
completely all of their traits, their habits, things that you don't even realize that you're taking it on. Like it just becomes something that you do and you don't even realize it. Like it's very dangerous. So they need to address
especially
that.
if it's hard for you to recognize what the healthy things are. You just see anything as being, good, and you're just taking it in, and it could just be ruining you.
What the healthy things are. I love that. So what are some healthy ways of coping with loneliness? Because like we said, you've all felt it before, right? You guys gave some examples of some negative ways of coping with it, like settling for things or jumping into things before you're ready for it. Healthy ways to cope with that loneliness.
Therapy. Yeah, for sure. I feel like it's a big deal. First of all, therapy, because you put like we said, if you're in a friend group and you can still feel lonely, I think having someone who's objective, having someone who you can't accuse of not trying to understand you or something like that and manipulating the situation. So I think having someone outside who can be objective to your situation, hear you out and give you real feedback and healthy way to process this loneliness, address it at the root, you know what I mean? And really break it down for what it is. Yeah, definitely therapy for sure.
I 100% agree, because sometimes it could actually be a spirit too that's attaching onto you, passed on from generations. You might be lonely and nothing's wrong with you. Like, you're like, why am I feeling this way?
Curses.
And it's like, no, your mama was lonely. Your mama's mama was lonely. Your mama's mama was lonely. And it's this thing that's been carried on. And if you're not addressing it, as Charnele said, in therapy, and finding and having someone who is, you know, capable of helping you through that, get to that root, is just going to keep traveling on.
And that thing about generational curses, Martina, that you hit on, that's something else right there. And it's like, you know, we say the spirit of loneliness, like that person before you was lonely and the person before you was lonely. But not only that overall spirit or feeling, but also you learn how to react to certain things like that. You learn, you pass down to your children that, it's not okay. You can't be content when you're lonely. You can't, you know, dive into self-care or X, Y, and Z. No, you dive into, you know, turn into other things like partying nonstop to block the hurt, or like latching on to the wrong person. So we teach our children how to behave in certain situations, and that just get passed on and passed on and passed on. So Charnele said positive actions like therapy is something else to pass on. What else?
You also tapped into it too, the self-care. I feel like once, you know, you take moments out for yourself and you build on those, like even if it's just a nighttime routine or something small, then you can build it into, like, you know, a spa day or something, so that you're being intentional with how you care for yourself. Because once you start being intentional with how you care for yourself, there's certain things certain boundaries you won't, you know, let slide. Like when you realize, oh, is that negative self-talk? Oh, bounce, because that's not going to make me feel good in this state of mind. Like you just start addressing certain things that when you do start to get into those lonely feelings, you know, now know how to navigate them.
But when you understand what it is that you're going through, then you can really properly implement self-care habits and affirmations and how you speak to yourself and checking yourself, right? Because you want to enforce boundaries that other people need to follow, but then you also need to enforce the boundaries on yourself that you need to follow. So all of that, how I talk to myself, how I see myself in the mirror, what do I allow to come into my mind? Like I'm checking all points right now. Every point of entry that is going to come into me, I have to check you at the door.
Right.
Check yourself and check in with yourself.
That part.
Yeah, love it.
A solution to loneliness is to now hurry up and be around other people. Because I don't think that that's going to fix the situation. Because as we said, you can feel lonely in a crowd. I feel like you definitely have to address what it is that's making you feel lonely. And once you know, you address that, then you can be able to build on that.
Right.
Yeah, and what would you say to those of us who are scrolling through social media and that FOMO hits in, the fear of missing out, and you see everybody together, everybody living their best life, and you at home like feeling lonely and whatever?
I feel like people have to realize that you, at the end of the day, still have to live with you. So you gotta be someone you like. You gotta be someone that you enjoy, like that you find pleasurable. I can sit at home and laugh at a movie. I do this all the time. First of all, that's my self-care habit. If you have FOMO, then you really, I really want to advise you to really look at like why you can't enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself at home. And even if you're not doing stuff, I mean, it's a form of self-care to be at home and just not be not doing anything as well. Yeah. But also if you sit at home and you say, you know what, I'm going to clean my depression room. Okay. And you just do it. And you make it a whole thing. Like, what's wrong with being home? I don't know. First of all, where y'all running to? Y'all need to stay home anyway.
First of all, I know y'all feel the weather outside. I do not have
It's
FOMO.
frightful. The weather outside is
have
so
FOMO
frightful.
of
But be comfortable in your own space. Like if you, and for a while it was such a thing, like I couldn't live with my own thoughts. My thoughts were killing me. You know what I mean? Like they were driving me nuts. And I had to address why that was, and then change how I was thinking, and that took time and work, change how I was thinking so that I can be alone with myself. And then I wouldn't have FOMO because I don't need to be out with you. I mean, I could be if I wanted to, but I don't need to.
So what do you think a person that's like, they're watching this and they're like, okay, but how is this helping me? This is counterproductive because I'm not trying to be alone. So why are you telling me to be okay with being alone?
Because I feel like in the time that you spend with yourself, you're loving on yourself so much. That's like a big thing for us, loving on ourselves and showing ourselves love, that when time and opportunity presents itself for whichever young man to come into my life, he's going to see the standard of which I love myself.
If I don't want to build on myself, why do you want to build with me? So it's important. It starts with you. And I know that sounds crazy. You're lonely, and what does that even mean? But in retrospect, as Charnele said before, therapy. Why don't you want to be okay with just being with you and starting with you and praying with you, and before you try to do that with someone else, you got to do it with yourself first.
Oh, great point. So don't look at loneliness as a hindrance.
Right.
It's a process.
Look at it as an opportunity for growth, self-care, learning, for you time. Love it.
It's a process, and you have to trust the process. I mean, people post about it all the time. They say it. It's a really trendy saying, but you really do need to trust the process. And just God's time. Like the process is important. There's a reason why there's every step by step for it. And if you take for granted one step, you won't appreciate how valuable the next step is when you get
100%. And you can't try to skip a step. You try to skip a step. It's like baking. You try to skip something, it's not gonna come out the way it's supposed to.
Girl, if they say use milk, don't use oil. Sense. Follow the instructions.
Don't skip the step. Don't try to be slick.
Don't skip steps. Don't go from one random Zoom call to marriage the next day.
I'm weak. No, but for real.
I received it. So I love that. Thank you so much for your insight. Therapy is extremely, extremely important. Do you have any other tips, any actionable tips that we could use today towards combating loneliness?
If you're not gonna, because therapy is not cheap. I mean, it's America. So I would recommend just start practicing certain things. Yes. I said it.
It's honesty. Not everyone has insurance.
You can talk to someone who's trusted. It doesn't have to be a paid therapy all the time.
If you have a mentor, maybe, you know what I mean? Someone who can pour into you, I think that would be very helpful. And then also practice your affirmations. If you're Christian, there's also biblical affirmations. It's very important to declare things over your life, especially the blessings of God, the promises of God. And there's so many in the Bible that you can literally, I type into YouTube. That's how I fall asleep sometimes. If I'm like tired and I'm not able to drift off into the night, I type into YouTube biblical affirmations and I listen. It runs on for like almost 3 hours. By the time we reach like 30 minutes, I'm deep in my sleep, and throughout the rest of the next 3 hours, I'm hearing affirmations throughout the room. Like that's what I hear, and it's good. It's very good. It takes time. Like I don't want people to hear affirmations and think, oh, it's I feel silly, because you're gonna feel silly at first. I'm beautiful. I am worthy. I'm deserving. You're gonna say it, and it doesn't always hit the first time. It takes a couple of times.
Or the third or the fourth.
There's definitely power in repetition and saying those things to yourself and believing them. As Charnele said, you're not going to believe it the first time you say it. But, you know, you keep saying those things to yourself, just like how the negative thoughts want to pop in. When you keep repeating those positive thoughts, they'll pop in.
Yes.
They'll overtake the negative thoughts.
Yes, yes. You know, we talk a lot about the power of negative thoughts, how it leads to depression, how it leads to health issues. And there's not enough talk about the healing power of positive thoughts. You know, you hear people talk about, yes, affirmations and all of that, saying the positive things, that's all a part of it, right? But we have to stress that positive thoughts heal. Just like how negative thoughts break down and destroy, positive thoughts build up and heal.
Positive thoughts, that's so true, Trisha. Like, I am convinced that, and faith heals you too, right? If you believe in something, if you have a hope in something and you don't let the negativity in, along with positive thoughts and your faith, you can really be healed from anything.
There's going to be a time where the negative thoughts come and those affirmations are just going to be like, get out of here. You know?
Right.
Like, you're going to have that thought, you're worthless. Nobody wants you. You're going to be alone forever. And then your affirmation is going to be like, no, I'm a queen. I am worthy.
Let me tell you, sometimes the negative thoughts come and you can't even muster the words to fight against them. I recommend writing down the affirmations, putting them like on little sticky pads all around random places, so that even though you're down, let's say you walk into your bathroom, on the mirror is something positive that I can see. Even though I might not say it, I can see it, and I'm reminded. You know what I mean? Force yourself out of the negativity.
Yeah.
And as you say that too, writing it down, you can even set like maybe alarms on your phone that are gonna, like, you know, randomly ring that say something or that reminds you of something throughout the day. Because sometimes randomly throughout the day you're at work, someone says something to you and that sends you backwards into those, you know, negative thoughts. And having that reminder pop up on your phone can be life-changing. I am trying to recover myself from even bottling things up. I try to write things down a lot and journal. Sometimes you're going through something, you don't even know why you're feeling a certain type of way, but you write those out, just start writing. Especially if you go through anxiety and you have a lot of things that's flowing through your mind, just write them down and release those things. Do not hold on to them, because when you hold on to them, they will kill you. We know that stress kills.
You have a right to be angry, a right to be sad, and even to be lonely, but it's just to know how to live with that in a healthy way and not a maladaptive way.
Yeah, we just spoke about something similar on one of our Bible studies, about doing things in excess, right? And how they can then, you know, be deteriorating. And I feel like it goes hand in hand with emotions as well. Like loneliness, of course, is something you're going to feel. When you start doing that now in excess, that's when it starts to really tear you down. That's, you know, for any emotion, when you go hard into it and now all of a sudden loneliness stands higher than the God you serve. You know, something's wrong there.
And it's affecting your day-to-day life, then, you know, it's time to seek help.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I love it. And then also something, I know you ladies mentioned the affirmations, doing that. And also when you feel lonely, reach out to the people who are already in your network. Reach out to the relationships that you already have and foster that, you know?
Yeah.
It may not be, you know, a romantic relationship. Reach out to that friend that you have, that family member, and just have just to remind yourself that you are part of something and that you're not like out there in the world literally by yourself.
Right. I completely agree.
Those self-reminders.
Yeah. Well, Charnele and Martina, thank you so much for those tips about combating loneliness and do your affirmations, positive things on social media, therapy, talk to someone trusted, if it's, you know, paid or not paid. Self-care actions, right? Oh man, what else? There were just so many little gems that were dropped.
Yeah.
I'll be sure
Yeah.
to include the link to your blog in the description so you guys could check out their blog. They talk about a plethora of, topics that's affecting us. So thank you for your insight. And for everyone who's watching, please, leave a comment and let us know, how do you deal with this? Your feedback could be helpful to others, and we would love to read about it. And don't forget to like, comment, share, and hit that notification button so you never miss another video from Tribe to Village. And let's all continue to elevate and grow together. Until next time, bye.
Bye.